Hi, so I'm Ben Toon. I'm a dad of 3, married to Birmingham, who you may well have seen on church a few times. And yeah, I've been going to Riverside for 4 or 5 years now, I think, having moved to Birmingham for work and then moved the whole family up. So I would say growing up, there were members of my family who were Christian, but it wasn't very strong, really, so I don't have that kind of upbringing or those kind of foundational bits I tend to find. And I think for a while in my childhood, well, I know that I did believe in God then, and then through teenage years I just switched off basically, and became very kind of dogmatic in my thinking, so it's very black and white. And because I followed a kind of a science path, particularly my degree, I felt very much like, well, science says this, religion says this, therefore it's wrong. So that was the kind of thinking. So it's very black and white. So I felt like if you've got to be one or the other, I'll be atheist, because all these people, you know, not these people, but I basically thought that if you're a Christian, you were, you know, you definitely believed in creationism, you definitely believed in it, and it was very like, well, you're all in this kind of bucket, and I didn't really see the bits between. But while I was at university, I was doing kind of a year out, hanging out in places like this, really, doing kind of conservation work and things. And it was during that time I met Bids, or Bidami, that you may know from doing services and things. And her family is very strongly Christian. She was very upfront and said, like, yeah, I'm Christian, that's where I am, and I think you are too, but you don't know it. And I was like, that's a bit weird, what's that about, kind of thing. And we started kind of dating, and she would very happily just sing Christian hymns when we're going out and about. I was like, this is a bit odd, but I really like her. And I kind of realised, I think over time, she's very, very, one of the smartest people I know, if not the smartest person I know. And she was very comfortable with being, I'm Christian, and I'm a doctor, and I know science and things, and that's okay. You know, it's not like, there's not a thing. So it kind of got me thinking, like, okay, there's something I haven't quite worked out. And it wasn't until we had children, and she'd always said, I want to bring up the children in church. And I was like, that's fine. I was like, it's nothing for me, but that's fine, we'll do that. And it's when I started attending a church in London and started kind of listening to the sermons and realising there was quite a range of people there, and they didn't all have one view, and they weren't all perfect, and they weren't all kind of looking down on me or thinking other things. And so that developed, and eventually I went on an Alpha course, so that was in London, led by a beautiful man, Jem, who sadly passed away last year, very suddenly. He was a wonderful man who, when I came, there was a lot of people who were Christian and trying to explore more, and I thought, oh no, this is not the right place for me. And quite often I'd listen and stay longer to ask questions and be really quite direct, to like, well, if there's a God, where's the proof of this? Or why does this happen? Or why is this the case? And I think that kind of gentle ability to ask questions and go, actually, we don't know the answers, or you could look here, or try this or do this, really helped me. And I think it just happened over time that I went, actually, I do want to explore this. And I think what really helped was that difference between, you know, so following Jesus, being with Jesus, he's your partner and he is with you. It's not about God doing stuff for you directly. I mean, he can, of course, but it's not, you know, a wish tree asking for things. And it's not about, here's the Bible, it has all the answers. There's interpretation, there's work to do. But the thing that really did it for me is actually you're not on your own when you make decisions. There is someone to be with you for the good times and the hard, particularly the hard. And I think after things like the pandemic we've just had, and the many people I've met, and so many people at Riverside who I've just had frank discussions with and done, you kind of realise community, and that kind of presence, it's life-giving, it's energising, it helps you. When I think before I would have felt like, oh, I have to do this on my own. And I think there still are times I do that. I'm not perfect in any way, and that's kind of the point. But actually, if you know that you've got someone to speak to or someone that's got your back, that's the real thing.